C2 Wrestling fans, what is going on? Your boys are back. Monday Night Raw, per usual, a Monday Night Raw review. I want to get right into it tonight. I thought tonight's Monday Night Raw was fun. I had a lot of fun watching the entire episode, top to bottom, pretty much. But we started off with Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Before I get into my thoughts, I want to know what CTD thought about the promos tonight.
I think that the people watching should let us know what they thought down in the comments. And while they're there, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because if you don't, you're a
You're a
coward.
coward.
Uh, these promos, similar to all of Raw, I had very mixed feelings on Raw.
Really
Like I thought
interesting.
it
I
was
enjoyed
good.
Raw.
I thought it was good overall, but I had some mixed feelings I'll get into. The promos themselves. Braun was awesome.
Yeah.
Don't like them teasing a little bit of tension between Braun and Seth because this isn't the first time that they've done it. Last week or 2 weeks ago, they kind of had Braun doing his own thing. So I don't love that teasing already. I
Mhm.
do like that they're kind of establishing all three guys as like
Main
top guys.
eventers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But the promos were great. My biggest gripe, I said it to you, and I know you'll agree. We need new theme for this trio
Hmm.
so the fans will stop singing along. And we need Seth to stop saying Monday Night Rollins. I'm supposed to boo these guys. I don't want
Yeah.
to I don't want to sing his song. I don't want to chant along to the Monday Night Rollins. Like I do it because I like them and I'm still going to like them even if they take it away. But if you take these things away, you're not even giving me the opportunity to treat them like baby faces. So that's
It's a
the promos were
new,
good though.
the promos were great, I thought. And, it's a new generation of Rollins. It's no longer the wise man. He's the Oracle, like this is a whole new kind of storyline for all these guys. So all the old school nicknames, the quips and whatnot, the little one liners, they should probably change too. Braun and Bronson have a pretty sweet mashed theme. Braun and Bronson's themes themselves are fine, but Rollins himself could arguably use a new theme. The stable should get their own theme. And the Empire strikes first. They should get a name, the Empire. Kind of rings a little bit. I don't hate it necessarily, but I do think it's about time to establish them as a faction a little bit. In terms of being a faction, though, there's not usually tension that early on. And they have shown a couple signs of like Braun Breaker doing his own thing. I definitely am not a big fan of the tension, but I loved the promos. I thought it was great that Braun took the mic and started with the mic. Bronson got his own words in. Usually these stables, it's the main guy talking, but they really are establishing all three, Seth, Braun, and Bronson, as beasts, unbeatable main eventers, top guys. So I can't complain at it, to be honest. I thought it was fun.
I would love the name the Empire, but the more I think about it, I would assume they'd run into a lot of copyright issues with things that they would want to do with it.
Hmm. I imagine so.
So
There's a show Empire, literally
yeah,
Empire Strikes Back. Yeah.
the Star Wars. You think of the Yankees, the Evil Empire. Like
Yeah.
there's just so many iterations of it that it probably would just become inconvenient because there's so many routes that you could go, but so many of those routes have been done by other things. So it makes me think they wouldn't, but man, to me, that's like the perfect name for them. Like I actually
Hmm.
really like that name. I feel like whatever they end up naming them, if they do name them, I'm not going to like it as much as the Empire. But who knows? Maybe they will. Or
They kind of name dropped the Oracle a couple weeks ago, and then it gets trademarked, and now that's Paul Heyman's new nickname. So I can see the same thing kind of happening with Empire. I don't know how all the copyrights and trademarks and all that stuff work. I do imagine there would be a little bit more trouble with that name over some others, but I think it fits the bill.
completely agree. And then they followed this up with Roxanne versus Kyrie Sane, which fine, whatever. You know, they had to get that final tag team into the women's four-way tag title match at Evolution. Man, we've beaten the dead horse
Hmm.
about this Evolution booking. They don't want you to care about it. It's like they're making a point for you to not care about this event, and it is to no fault of the talent.
Mhm.
I texted you, and I believe I posted it as well. I said this is like a can I PLE. Literally just,
Yeah,
can I have this match? Yeah. Can I
yeah.
be in this match? Yeah. Like there has been zero. Is Charlotte and Alexa the only ones who earned being their spot in a match on the entire PLE? Like, okay, yes, the Bailey, Becky, Lyra match makes sense, fair.
Mhm.
The Naomi match
Yeah.
makes sense, fair. The NXT title match is the only one where it was like, all right, this person earned their opportunity. They're
Mhm.
facing the champion. The two other title matches, it's I get to choose my opponent. I'm choosing them. Becky, lover or hater, points out the perfect flaw in that. Why didn't I get to choose my opponent? What is this? Why can they just choose their opponents and
Yeah.
I can't? Dumb. Then tag match. We're mad. We want to be added. I love the idea. Hey, I'd love to be in the battle royal. You're in. Like what? Okay, I should just text my sister and be like, hey, if you text Adam Pierce, if you can get his number, you can get on this card somehow. All you got to do is ask.
It is the question. Can I be in this match? Can I face this person? Can I skip this PLE? I mean, arguably, because it really is not being built well. Again, it is no shade on the talent, but the Evolution PLE as a whole is shoehorned in there. They're stacking it with the Saturday Night's Main Event, NXT Great American Bash, I almost called it Super Slam. Oh my God, SummerSlam coming up.
Super
Super
Slam.
Slam.
Legendary video.
Legendary video. Yeah. SummerSlam coming up. We're right off the back of Night of Champions. Like, it's kind of just mushed in there. And I don't expect a whole lot. I expect good matches for not only Evolution, but Saturday Night's Main Event. But Saturday Night's Main Event is the same thing, too. It's just kind of like exhibition matches. Rollins and LA Knight, that's a pretty decent matchup. Don't get me wrong. There's some stakes there in a way. But Gunther Goldberg's retirement. Gunther goes over probably. Randy versus Drew, another fun one. Don't get me wrong. But just kind of last minute. It was only booked a week ago. There's not a whole lot of build for these PLEs. But Evolution, the tag team titles, you got to get Asuka on the card. It was either the Battle Royal or it was the tag match when it really comes down to it. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen at this PLE. The title change of the night is going to be Jordan Grace winning the NXT Championship. I don't think Roxanne and Raquel are going to lose the tag belts quite yet. I think they're going to hold them till Liv comes back. Liv's going to want her title back. That's clearly kind of the story they got going on here. So whatever. It's all just kind of throwaway. Again, they did the whole EO, Rhea Ripley, vignette, all that. Rhea's never beat her. Sure, fine. I get it. But I don't know. It's just a match. And I love great matches. Don't get me wrong. A lot of these women can put on a great match, but I love a great story.
This leads to my next
Period.
gripe with tonight's Raw. And trust me, there was stuff that I like. I'll talk about El Grande Americano. I'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about the main event, whatever. But I keep it real. Whatever I like, I like. What I don't like, I don't like. Don't like how we just had a million video packages for the
For the
women who are
PLEs.
on
Yeah.
the show on Sunday, and it's like, not to be that guy, but if I'm meant to care about the women's world title match between Io and Rhea, maybe have them on the fucking go home show instead of just video packages.
Yeah.
Is that a wild concept? I don't think that's asking for too much.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, Raw was kind of stacked tonight. This is probably the longest Raw since, in a while by a couple minutes. Don't get me wrong. They still have a half hour to play with if they ever cared to, but they could have squeezed it in somewhere had they wanted to. I think it's just kind of goes to show that the PLE itself is kind of a wash. I would be baffled if EO loses the world championship on Sunday. So we'll see where they go. It wasn't the only thing. They did a lot of Saturday Night's main event vignettes as well. A lot of the show tonight was built off the back of showing what's to come. It's the biggest problem to me. It's just when you're mushing all these shows together again. We're getting so many big shows in such little time frame. We can't build off 2 week builds. It needs to be 4 to 5 week builds for a lot of these PLEs. So it's tough.
I've got one more rant in me, but I'm going to save it. So let's talk about something that I did like.
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna like this next one. Yeah.
My boy, El Grande Americano.
Oh, I thought you were gonna talk about the women's Battle Royal entrant.
Oh, that I loved. That I loved,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
That was the only vignette I actually stood up and I was like,
yeah. That was the
now
only
a
one where
proper vignette.
your text after had to wake me up. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
no,
no.
it wasn't that bad.
Can't wait to meet her on Saturday.
I expected it.
Hyped.
I expected it. I expected her in the battle royal. Does she win? Don't know. Do I want her to win? No, for a few reasons. I think her winning the battle royal is kind of just like there's so much other talent right now type answer. She doesn't need to win it.
It is Nikki Bella that we're talking about, by the way, because I know
Yeah,
Stephanie Vaquer also had the
correct.
same exact promo
Yeah,
package. So Stephanie Vaquer, who's probably going to win the match, that happened at a different point. But we're talking about Nikki Bella's
yeah.
uh, promo, which hyped for that. Very
But
clear though. I like how they kind of acknowledge like it was obviously the plan for her to face Liv
live.
Morgan, which even then that would have been quite thrown together. So
Hmm.
not saying that would have been, like they lost out on some like great long-term booking or anything like that. But El Grande Americano, man,
Gracias.
I texted you, I love Ludwig. I
Hmm.
love El Grande Americano. I think Corey Graves, like, he took this to another level with how fantastic he was. And like we've obviously liked Corey for a long time.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna shit on McAfee for how I think Pat would have handled it, but it was like every line from Michael Cole, Corey Grave had a logical rebuttal that like obviously is not true, but like it was just hook, line, and sinker everything. Even when Michael Cole accidentally called El Grande Americano Dragon Lee, and Corey Graves immediately is like, "See, he's such a great luchador that you're
You
mixing him
can't
up with
tell.
another
Yeah.
luchador." Like I thought, we've been hyped for this for the
Hmm.
last few weeks.
Yeah.
I thought Corey Graves was an 11 out of 10 for the
Hmm.
delivery to add to this story. The crowd could have been better.
Yeah, crowd could have been better. A little bit of a bigger pop for El Grande would have been more appreciated, but it's a great story. I love it. How do you kind of continue El Grande without Chad Gable? I mean, they're finding a way. I think it's fantastic. Ludwig busting out some moves we've never seen him bust out either to kind of really put over the Lucha gimmick. It's so funny watching him run around in his thick German accent. Gracias. It's so funny. Uh, I loved my biggest thing that I was a fan of was that Dragon Lee and El Grande got an actual match in tonight. That was a 10 plus minute match. If this was the old regime, if this wasn't on Netflix, that would have been a 5 minute match, whatever, nothing crazy. So I'm loving that they're actually getting TV time. I've been seeing all over the internet lately, Twitter, about Dragon Lee. Where's Dragon Lee? How is he not on TV? Well, there he is. He's on TV. Ludwig back on TV. I seen a tweet earlier during the show. What did Ludwig do to get punished like this? This is not a punishment. I think, if anything, they trust the guy. They like the guy. They're utilizing him in the story. I don't understand it. I'm still seeing El Grande hate. People are shitting on the character, shitting on the gimmick. I'm shitting on you then because it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been fun. It's been completely different, but it's been something from like the very first time they did it. I've been latched on, so I'm excited that they're using, this killer of an injury for Chad Gable and they're spinning it into a completely different story. So turning a negative into a positive. One thing that we skipped over because I had to bitch too much was Sami Zayn getting written off. Uh,
Yes.
Karrion Cross takes him out before the match with a steel pipe. Crowd chanting for Cross. Then after, Braun Breaker beats him multiple spears. They say Zayn is out indefinitely. Perfect. This is how things should be with this faction.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a potential matchup that I love that I want you to mention in a second. But man, I'd be stunned if Karrion Cross wasn't re-signed because
Yeah.
it's all right there. It's all right there.
People have gotten some tears shed over a lot of recent releases, and I get it. Some people have gone away that people enjoyed. But if they were to cut Cross right now, I'm going to Connecticut. Like that would be crazy. Like that would be insane. I have to imagine he is re-signed or re-signing, but you got to book it. Sami Zayn, Karrion Cross, no DQ, Super Slam. How do you not book
We're not
this?
ordering it.
Yeah. How do you not book it? I mean, it fits the bill. 7 matches each night. You got a 2 night PLE. You got to squeeze that in there somewhere. Love that Sami was written off a little bit coming at the hands of Braun Breaker. I love that they're also didn't write him off, but Jay got a handling too by Bronson Reed. Maybe he gets written off in a week or two as well. Love the direction. My fear Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, right off Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. We've been on the boat of putting those straps, those tag titles on Bronson and Braun. If they do that for like the ultimate return of Sami and Jay to be the guys to take the tag titles, I'll be a bit disappointed. But that's forward thinking. We're not quite there yet.
I mean, if that were to happen, I could see that just being a hot potato between the two real quick, where
Yeah.
Jay and Sammy take the titles off them and then they
And then they
win it
take them
back
back. Yeah.
pretty quickly, which fine, I'm okay with. Uh, I texted you, you know, it's obvious Jay must not be written off because two is not enough. Like, look,
Mm-hmm.
the tsunami is great, and it should be enough to just hit two. But when you hit six to Seth, and
Yeah.
you're talking about it, how you're going to beat the respect out of Jey Uso, and you're mentioning that Bronson Reed got the respect from Rollins by hitting six, and he only hits like two. I could have used one or two more to really kind of hammer it home, but maybe it's because Jay's going to be on probably Saturday to help LA Knight.
Yeah, he might get written off in the next week or two as well. Sammy was attacked last week by Karrion Cross with the steel pipe, and that really didn't help him going into this week. Maybe it's Jey Uso next week that comes out with the tape around the ribs, and maybe we get another two, three, four, five tsunamis or some spears. I thought he was going to hit a tsunami through the announce table because they took the cover off and everything, but didn't quite happen. I'm okay with it though. I like where the story's going, so I'm going to leave it there.
Another thing that I'm actually not going to bitch about that I actually thought was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It was short, quick, to the point, helped sell the match. The Gunther Goldberg
Yep.
segment was good. And
Mm-hmm.
look, they've tried to really push the Gunther's kind of scared of Goldberg. He talks his shit, and then when Goldberg shows up, he kind of shakes in his boots a little bit. They really hammered that home. Quite interested. This match on Saturday. I think we know how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm more interested on how it starts based on how the last few weeks have gone. Like, do we get Goldberg hitting the spear right away and a jackhammer and it seems like he's got him and Gunther kicks out? Or I could see a world where Gunther, as soon as the bell rings, he just rolls out of the ring and I'm taking my time with this.
Yeah, I could see it. I can definitely see the heel side of Gunther rolling out of the ring. This is going to be Goldberg's longest match ever, and we haven't even touched yet, type heel stuff. I could see the spear, the jackhammer coming. Regardless, Gunther's retaining here. There's no fear necessary. Goldberg ain't winning the championship. I've been saying it, calling this match for a while. Goldberg versus Gunther is the Goldberg retirement match. Put it under Gunther as an accolade, the guy that officially retired. Goldberg, whether people like to say it or not, is one of the most prominent characters in wrestling history. That's a big accolade for a guy like Gunther. Moves him on to the next thing. I'm looking forward to it. Let's make it happen. Let's move Gunther on to his next story.
I want to touch on Rollins in a second, but I think tonight made it really clear that most likely the plans for SummerSlam are Rollins versus Roman and Punk versus Gunther. Uh, with there
Yeah.
being just really no Punk talk and
Mm-hmm.
Rollins talking about Roman in his promos, and we already got the tease between Punk and Gunther. I think we could see Gunther retains on Saturday. On Monday, he's out. Maybe even opens Raw with a promo, and Punk interrupts, something along those lines. I think that seems to be the route.
Roman's got some movies coming too, so maybe they want to squeeze that Roman Rollins match in before they can't anymore. I would prefer Punk versus Rollins at SummerSlam, if I'm going to be honest. I think the storyline fits a little bit better. Obviously, there's a story to be told at Roman and Rollins, but I'm kind of fixated on that send off for Punk and Rollins at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of though. am okay with it if Roman comes back and loses and Seth's crew gives him the work and
Yeah, it takes him out.
writes him right back off. He shows up
Hmm.
and goes right back away. Before we talk about the main event, because it was a good main event, I said I have one more bitching to get out of Raw that I got to deliver.
Hmm.
I don't give a fuck about Jelly Roll. Enough. Enough. Why has him, and I know there's been reports that he's going to be a part of SummerSlam.
Mm.
Ass, don't want it, whatever. Why has this been given more attention than your fucking title matches that are on this weekend? I've seen
Yeah.
like 5 promos, and they brought it up multiple times in graphics promoting Jelly Roll on SmackDown. I don't give a fuck. I
Yeah.
don't care. Put the fucking guys on that I want to see, the girls on that I want to see. I don't care about Jelly Roll. Fucking stop.
It's every big three, big four, SummerSlam, Rumble, Mania. Like, there's always celebrity involvement to some degree. I never give a shit, even when it's celebrities that I'm into. I don't even dislike Jelly Roll. I think he's fine. I don't listen to his music at all. Couldn't name a song, but I think he's fine. Do I need him involved? No. There's always going to be some involvement. Rumors of a storyline with him. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be that deep. I think people are kind of overthinking it. I also like to think, now maybe this is wishful thinking, but I like to think that WWE listens and they realize that the Travis Scott stuff not going over too well, you know? So I don't know how involved they're trying to get a lot of these people right now. I think they're maybe going to put a lot of heavy celebrity involvement on hold. I don't anticipate a Jelly Roll match, things like that. Could he get involved somewhere, somehow? Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Dude, they have celebrities in the crowd and celebrity appearances all the time.
Hmm.
They're not putting them on the graphic that says this Friday, Monday
Well,
Night
yeah, well,
Raw,
yeah.
Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura are going to be on. Like they don't really do that for all these celebrity appearances. They've been pushing this Jelly Roll fucking appearance for the last week and a half, and tonight it was multiple like teasing of it.
Well, I think Jelly Roll is going to like host SummerSlam. I think that's the thing. Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura, they popped up in a backstage
Yeah.
segment on a Raw. There's no announcement needed. The people that show up in the crowd, no announcement needed. It's not the first time a celebrity's been announced. I absolutely see Jelly Roll in the ring on Friday with some sort of mic in hand saying something where they announce him as the host, whatever. Maybe some heel comes out and spits something at him and he hits a choke slam again or some shit, whatever. But he's going to be involved through SummerSlam. It's whatever to me. It's not ideal, but like whatever.
It's
There
ass
was
to me.
always there was
I had to get
always
that
going to
out.
be some celebrity involvement. I'll fucking tell you what. I'll put Jelly Roll in goddamn all 14 matches SummerSlam weekend before I even see Cardi B on screen. All right, so I'll take Jelly Roll.
I'd be fine with
Thank you.
A Cardi
Oh,
cameo.
shut the fuck up. No, Jelly Roll's fine. Jelly Roll's fine. Move it along.
Come on, give me a Cardi cameo. I'll be all right with it. Jelly Roll, get the fuck out of here. I already saw you were there last year. You fucking did your performance, your choke slam. I don't know what does Theo Von say? For anyone watching this, going through a hard time, man. He seems like a great guy, but I'm not fucking watching for Jelly Roll.
Yeah,
But
nobody
the main
is.
event, so I can
Yeah,
stop bitching. Rollins Penta.
dream match.
Oh man, it was halfway through the match where I mean, I've had it plenty of times with Penta, where it's just like, man, Penta it really is in the WWE
Yeah,
facing Seth Rollins
yeah.
right now. Like, fuck, this is weird, but I love it.
It's like a fever dream. It's one thing for him to be in the WWE, for him to be in such a main picture against Seth Rollins is the guy right now. For him to be against Seth Rollins, main eventing Monday Night Raw, 6 months into his WWE career, it's surreal. Being a Penta guy for a long time too, calling for Penta in WWE. I've thought it many times throughout his short tenure, like, man, this guy's in WWE right now, and I love to see it. It was a fun match. Penta doesn't quite get the win. That is okay. Expected it here tonight. Penta's he is one of those guys that in other avenues of his career has gone on undefeated, crazy streaks, things like that. But you can't have every wrestler just be undefeated all the time. It's okay for him to take a pinfall loss here. After the match, LA Knight comes out, hits the BFT on Seth Rollins, sets up a little bit more tension going into Saturday night. Braun Breaker throws himself over the barricade chasing after LA
Can't
Knight
get
there.
back up.
Ken Bronson had to literally pull him by the trunks. So funny, but I love it. I think the idea was, they're going to take out Penta, but Penta doesn't quite get taken out, so maybe he's still got some involvement somewhere, somehow. But again, just to kind of set up the LA Knight Seth Rollins match at Saturday Night's main event, that's probably the match I'm looking most forward to this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people that are complaining that Penta lost again, but first off,
Mm-hmm.
losing to Rollins in any fashion isn't
Yeah.
anything bad. But
You're
also,
complaining about a Penta Seth Rollins match. Let's put
yeah,
it that way.
also on top of it, very creative finish with, Penta like starting to pick Rollins up, and Rollins does a
Yeah.
headbutt to the family jewels, and
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was very creative, completely different. So I actually enjoyed that quite a bit. The only gripe I had with the match, there's got to be a gripe. I texted you the no sell of the buckle bomb. No, you're so close to this match being perfect. So close. Hated the no sell of the buckle bomb. I
Yeah.
mean, this is a move that legit almost retired Sting and took him out
Yeah.
of action for years. I don't want to no sell of that, but I'll ignore it for now because I
Mm-hmm.
do love these guys and the match was very good. It didn't completely taint the match for me. That was fun. But you mentioning Braun Breaker, I did want to mention real quick. He was awesome tonight in
Yeah. Top to
all of his.
bottom.
He had like, first of all, he had like 5 segments.
He
Um,
is clearly the next guy. Like if
yeah,
when you look at the Stone Colds, the Rocks, the John Cena's, the Roman Reigns, the Braun Breakers, like he's in that slot right now. Just give it some time, he'll be there.
yeah. Even like the short little segment where Heyman is talking to Penta and Braun
Mm-hmm.
Breaker shows up, and then he's like, he's doing the 3 up, 3 down. Like, what is
Like,
this,
was it
baseball?
baseball?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I thought Braun was awesome tonight. And then finishing with him getting stuck on the barricade was just like perfect. They're showing so much more personality of him. I know that like probably wasn't planned, but they're doing a good job of honestly letting him talk more, like in
Mm-hmm.
different ways where he's kind of sounds like a Steiner and then kind of sounds, like funny, relatable, and then he sounds like a savage that's going to rip someone's head off. Like,
Yep.
love it. And they're doing it in a way where they have Rollins look a little annoyed, but in the end, in the main event, Rollins is clearly still calling the shots. Um, One last thing I want to touch on, especially with this match, I do like a little bit of this story of taking out the other people. I like how they're just slowly getting people to forget about what's right behind me, that Money in the Bank contract. I
Yep.
like when it's there, but they're not talking about it. It's not the center of attention. It's not the elephant in the room. It's there, but we're slowly forgetting about it. And that's when he cashes in and wins. Like, that's what I like. It was a little bit of a focal point before. Let's ease away from that a little bit. And I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I agree. The Money in the Bank briefcase is going to come into play, I think sooner rather than later, but they have been making the fans kind of forget about it a little bit. And that's a big point in the briefcase, is us not remembering that it's a thing. That moment should be electric. But I thought it was a fun Monday Night Raw. I'm looking forward to Friday Night SmackDown, Saturday Night's main event, NXT, Great American Bash, Evolution, all the events. There's 95 events coming up this week. I'm looking forward to it all. Looking forward to C2 Wrestling. Again, stay subscribed, turn those notifications on. You don't want to miss what's coming out from us. If you do, you're a coward.
He said it best.